Actually, there are different ways of doing zikr, but they're all the same path, really, right? And their objective um, ultimately is to be in a state where we have become independent of our nafs and where we have achieved what Quran calls nafs mutma'inna, i.e., we have, as much as is humanly possible for weak mortals like ourselves, conquered our lower self or our ego or our nafs. The Naqshbandiya path Sufi path is unique in some ways because its way of doing zikr is just a silent zikr, and then after about 7 lessons, then all we have is a series of meditations that take us through a very interesting path. And inshallah, I know I've been trying to do this for a while, but I promise now, and I've made this promise to Farhan Bhai earlier as well, inshallah, over the next 2 weeks or so, I will get an English manual out of our spiritual path, so that because the traditional manuals are all in Persian and in Urdu, in Arabic, and it's not easy for a lot of people to access them. So inshallah, I'll have it out in English, a more accessible, usable version. And the reason I want to do that is because it, I think, lays out the journey in front of you. And when one becomes aware of what is the journey, then inshallah, it leads to more excitement about traveling on the journey as well, and the milestones that and the various milestones on that path. But it's a beautiful journey, and as you go along, there are meditations that are about like the reality of Kaaba or the reality of prayer, or you're sitting down and in the presence of Allah Ta'ala, and there are these meditations that are about various kinds of epiphanies or tajalliyat, as we will call them. And so those are amazing meditations. They're all part of the journey. And but the end goal of all of that is is just a complete radical overcoming of one's nafs and of complete annihilation in the face of the divine, right? It's just falling in love, and then you continue to fall in love. So it's that idea of you're with Allah Ta'ala, but then you're also continuously traveling towards Allah Ta'ala. So it's like, the famous story of Layla Majnu, where somebody asked Majnu where he was coming from, and he said, from Layla. And they said, where are you going to? And he said, to Layla. And he said, how could you be coming from her and going to her? And he said, and that is the state, that essentially becomes the state of the salik, where you're with Allah Ta'ala, but you're always traveling towards Him. Because as Hazrat Bahauddin Bukhari Naqshband Rahmatullah alayhi used to say, this is a journey that has no end. So every one of us will remain a traveler till our last breath. And this traveling that we do, um, whatever milestones we think we have hit, we know with certainty that that is not God, that Allah Ta'ala is still beyond that, right? We can never reach Him, and it's a continuous journey of just sinking and sinking, or rising or rising, however you like to visualize it, either sinking in His love or immersing in His love, or rising or transcending our human selves, or our lower selves, our ego, our nafs, to be in His presence. And the sweetness of this journey, this path of devotion, because Allah Ta'ala, there are two ways to God, really, within our Islamic tradition. One is the path of knowledge, and the other is the path of devotion. And both of these paths have been made available to this ummah by Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So you will have, there is a path of knowledge, um, and then there is a path of devotion, and these two paths are not completely independent of each other. There is an overlap. You cannot be on a path of devotion without certain threshold level of knowledge, right? So if you don't know what halal haram is, if you don't know, the basic tenets of Sharia, you're not on a path of devotion, right? You're on your own path. There's no tasawwuf, there's no spiritual journey outside the bounds of God's commands or God's degree or God's decrees, right? Or Allah Ta'ala's commands. So there is no spirituality outside of Sharia. And similarly, you can be a scholar of knowledge, but there is some minimum level of devotion that you need in terms of some basic zikr, some basic moments of just you being with Allah Ta'ala one on one, right? And this path of devotion is the path that we're on, and inshallah may Allah Ta'ala support us and help us progress along this journey. So inshallah, over the next couple of weeks, we will have the manual out, which will answer a lot of questions that a lot of people have, with regards to just thinking about what is the spiritual path, what is this particular spiritual path, i.e., the Naqshbandiya Sufi journey. What are its lessons? What are its milestones? Inshallah, and may Allah Ta'ala give barakah to all of us on this path. May Allah Ta'ala, inshallah, fulfill all our worldly needs and our spiritual needs. May Allah Ta'ala make us happy in this world and happy and blessed in the world hereafter. May Allah Ta'ala, make this struggle easy for us, make this world easy for us. Give us a lot of barakah in our rizq, in our everyday lives, in our decisions, in our thinking, in our struggles. Make all of them easy for us, and may Allah Ta'ala reduce the burden of dunya on us. That's really a critical dua for all of us. May Allah Ta'ala reduce the burden of dunya on us, and may Allah Ta'ala choose us for Himself, uh, without any regard for, and not because there is any good in us, but because He is Ar-Rahman, He is Al-Wadud, He can do what He wants. إِنَّمَا أَمْرُهُ إِذَا أَرَدَ شَيْئًا أَن يَقُولَ لَهُ كُن فَيَكُونُ. فَسُبْحَانَ الَّذِي بِيَدِهِ مَلَكُوتُ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ وَإِلَيْهِ تُرْجَعُونَ. Right? So He can, when He wishes something to happen, إِنَّمَا أَمْرُهُ إِذَا أَرَدَ شَيْئًا أَن يَقُولَ لَهُ كُن فَيَكُونُ. He says kun, and it happens. And may Allah Ta'ala pick us really like that. Just He may say kun and make us His, only His, where our hearts are just only attached to Him and Him only, lost in His love, where we may, not even for a second forget His name, not even for a second forget Him, and where we're consumed with His love. And then for His sake, we love everyone else. It's very interesting that it's not that Muslims, um, our concept of love is we love everyone through Him. It is a love through Him. He is the first recipient of our love, and then through Him is where we learn to love, and it's through Him that we love um, everyone and everything else that we are supposed to love. But our first primary objective of our devotion, and Allah Ta'ala says this, right? And it's amazing. It's amazing that we have three meditations in our suluk that are on this ayah, yuhibbuhum wa yuhibbunahu. Right? It's so beautiful. Yuhibbuhum wa yuhibbunahu. He loves them and they love him. And it is about people of faith, people who have iman, people who believe in the oneness of God, people who love Allah. They are the object of Allah's love, and Allah loves them, and we love Him. And you think about, it's amazing that our spiritual path there are 5 meditations across these 3 ayahs. وَمَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ. He is with you wherever you are. Number 1. Number 2, نَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. We are closer to them than their jugular vein. And then يُحِبُّهُمْ وَيُحِبُّونَهُ, which has 3 meditations around it. So it's beautiful how on our spiritual path, it's about becoming first aware of His presence, then being aware of how close He is to us, يعني أقرب إليه من حبل الوريد. And then the nature of that proximity, that nature is that of يُحِبُّهُمْ وَيُحِبُّونَهُ, that He loves us and we love Him. So inshallah, thank you all for coming. May Allah Ta'ala put barakah in all our lives, and may Allah Ta'ala accept us gathering here tonight just for His sake. And if there is any other niyyah in us gathering here other than Him, may Allah Ta'ala forgive that, have mercy on us, and accept us for us gathering here tonight only for the sake of Allah Ta'ala. Inshallah, I'll see you next Sunday. Ma'as salam.